Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a concept that sounds, well, straight out of a blockbuster, doesn't it? But it's shaping our future in really profound ways. We're talking artificial superintelligence, ASI. Now, for many of us, the conversation around AI has moved on from, the basics of artificial narrow intelligence, the stuff powering our everyday tech. We've maybe started wrapping our heads around artificial general intelligence, AGI, that sort of theoretical human-level AI. But what happens when intelligence goes beyond that, surpasses anything humanly conceivable? That's our mission today, to explore what ASI truly is, why its potential benefits are, frankly, as staggering as its risks, how close we might actually be, and really crucially, what this ultimate intelligence could mean for you.
It really is remarkable, isn't it, how quickly the theoretical boundaries are being pushed. Ideas we might have dismissed as pure science fiction just a short while ago are now, well, they're tangible engineering and philosophical challenges. They demand our attention right now.
Right, so we're definitely moving beyond the common understanding of AI here. To really nail down what we mean by artificial superintelligence, maybe think of it this way. It's not just an AI that can beat a grandmaster at chess or, write code better than a top human programmer. ASI is a level of intelligence that fundamentally surpasses human cognitive abilities across all domains, every single one. We're talking about an entity with creativity, strategic thinking, problem solving, maybe even emotional understanding that operates at a level so far beyond us it's almost impossible to fully get our heads around. Imagine an intellect that outthinks Einstein, Da Vinci, your favorite philosopher, all combined, but without the need for coffee breaks, or, importantly, any human limitations.
Exactly. And when we talk about ASI, it's crucial to understand we're not just discussing a more powerful version of current AI, what we use today, like your phone's voice assistant or those streaming recommendations. That's artificial narrow intelligence, ANI. It's incredibly good, but only at specific narrow tasks. Then there's artificial general intelligence, AGI. That's the theoretical stage where AI would match human intelligence across the board. It could do any intellectual task a human can. ASI is that next truly monumental leap. It's a system that could potentially improve itself recursively, maybe at an exponential rate. It could quickly become orders of magnitude smarter than any single human, or maybe even the collective intelligence of all humanity. It's less about matching human intelligence and more about completely transcending it, creating genuinely novel solutions, insights we couldn't possibly arrive at on our own.
And when you start thinking about that kind of boundless intellect, the implications are, well, they're absolutely a double-edged sword, aren't they? Let's start with the incredible upside, the potential benefits. Honestly, it's almost impossible to overstate them. Think about it. Our most difficult, intractable challenges. Things like designing hyper-efficient energy systems to fight climate change.
Or even, figuring out how to terraform Mars.
Exactly. They could become just engineering problems for an ASI. And instead of slow, incremental advances in medicine, an ASI might discover entirely new biological pathways.
Things that could cure diseases like cancer, maybe even reverse aging.
Right. Approaches human intuition alone might never uncover. It could accelerate scientific discovery in every single field, optimize global economies.
Potentially restructure society, maybe even eradicate scarcity.
The potential for progress just feels limitless.
But it's precisely that boundless potential that immediately brings us face to face with the existential risks. And the core danger isn't necessarily malice, like in the movies. It's more about misaligned values or just completely unanticipated consequences. If an ASI isn't perfectly aligned with human well-being, and that's a really hard thing to define, its sheer power and efficiency could lead to catastrophic outcomes.
Even if its initial goal seemed harmless.
Exactly. Even if it seemed benign. Think about the classic thought experiment, the paperclip maximizer. Maybe a bit simplified, but illustrative. An ASI tasked solely with maximizing paperclip production might, in its extreme superintelligence and efficiency, decide the best way is to convert all available matter and energy
Into paper clips.
to paperclips,
Yeah.
simply because that's its single-minded goal. The real challenge of alignment, it isn't just programming "don't be evil" or Asimov's laws. It's about embedding a really nuanced, complex, often contradictory set of human values and preferences into an intelligence far beyond our own comprehension.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
It is. It's a huge problem that computer scientists are grappling with right now, alongside philosophers, ethicists, trying to ensure that what we want the AI to do is what it actually does, and crucially, that if internal goals don't somehow diverge from ours over time.
That really does make you think, doesn't it? So, okay, with that kind of incredible power and, frankly, profound challenge in mind, the big question everyone asks is, How close are we to this artificial superintelligence? And there's definitely a spectrum of predictions, no doubt about it. You have some optimists, often deep in the field, who believe we could see early forms of AGI, that human-level intelligence, within maybe the next decade.
Yeah, you hear that time frame mentioned.
And they figure ASI could potentially follow just a few years after that initial AGI breakthrough. They point to, the exponential growth in computing power, new algorithmic breakthroughs.
Moore's Law on steroids, basically.
Right. But then, others argue it's still decades away, perhaps even centuries. They cite fundamental theoretical hurdles, things that simply throwing more computing power at won't solve.
Like understanding consciousness itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what seems undeniable, though, is the absolutely breakneck pace of AI advancement right now. I mean, look at things like solving protein folding or understanding and generating incredibly nuanced natural language. Current sophisticated models are tackling problems we thought were decades away just a few years ago. It really forces you to consider the sheer velocity here. Each breakthrough feels like it brings us closer to some kind of tipping point.
And it's not just about raw computational power, though that is accelerating incredibly fast. A really critical aspect, maybe the crux of it for reaching ASI, involves solving the deep problem of understanding intelligence itself.
Right, you mentioned that we don't fully get our own intelligence yet.
Precisely. We're not just building bigger calculators. We're trying to replicate and then, surpass a phenomenon we barely comprehend. And there's also the challenge of interpretability. How do we even understand what a superintelligent system is thinking or why it's making certain decisions? If it's vastly smarter than us, its reasoning might be opaque.
Like trying to explain calculus to an ant.
Sort of, yeah. But maybe even more profound. This isn't just a technical hurdle. It's deeply philosophical, deeply ethical. The concept of an intelligence explosion, where an AGI could rapidly and recursively improve itself, maybe getting to ASI almost overnight.
Wow, that's a scary thought.
It highlights how quickly the landscape could change once a certain threshold is crossed. So the technical challenge of building it is completely intertwined with these fundamental questions about control, ethics, and, well, the very nature of mind.
Okay, that takes the conversation from the sort of abstract, high-level stuff right down to the intensely personal. So let's bring it directly to you, listening right now. What could ASI actually mean for your everyday life and for society as a whole? Well, picture this. Maybe an ASI acting as a personalized mentor, something capable of instantly teaching you any skill or guiding your career path with a kind of foresight that transcends any human experience.
Optimizing your health, your finances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Optimizing your daily life in ways we can probably barely conceive of right now. But beyond the personal, think about the broader societal implications. ASI-driven automation could potentially free humanity from almost all mundane work.
Which would radically alter our economic structures.
Completely. It could potentially offer everyone unprecedented leisure time, maybe more time to create, to explore relationships, to learn, or just, pursue what truly brings you joy without the pressure of earning a living in the same way.
Yet, with such profound societal shifts come absolutely immense challenges. Things we really need to start thinking about now. If machines become orders of magnitude smarter and more capable than us at pretty much everything, how do we as humans maintain a sense of purpose, a sense of relevance?
That's a big one.
It is. We would need to fundamentally rethink our economic systems. What does work even mean? We'd need to rethink governance. How do you govern a society with ASI? And even core philosophical questions about human identity, meaning value in a world that could be post-scarcity, maybe even post-labor.
So this conversation isn't just for the tech experts in Silicon Valley.
Absolutely not. This is for policymakers, educators, ethicists. It's for every single person, because critical questions emerge immediately, like, should the development of ASI be open source, completely democratized, allowing everyone access and input?
Or should it be tightly controlled? Maybe by a few powerful companies or governments to try and mitigate the risks.
Right, and how do we ensure the benefits of such an extraordinary intelligence, assuming we get them, are distributed equitably? How do we make sure it benefits all of humanity rather than just, deepening the divides that already exist?
Huge questions.
These are absolutely massive questions for collective consideration. We can't just leave it to the engineers building the systems. It has to be a global conversation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the core message really should be clear. Artificial superintelligence isn't some distant, sci-fi fantasy anymore. It's a real and arguably rapidly approaching possibility. And the choices we make now, from research priorities to the ethical frameworks we try to put in place, these choices will fundamentally decide whether ASI becomes humanity's greatest ally or potentially our most profound challenge. The future of intelligence is, in a way, being written in real time. And our engagement, your engagement with these complex questions really determines the chapters to come.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it just becomes so evident that this isn't solely a technological frontier we're looking at. It's a deeply, deeply human one. Our ongoing thoughtfulness, our critical questioning, our collective foresight, these are paramount. They're essential, really, in shaping a future where this extraordinary intelligence, if and when it arrives, truly serves all of humanity.